We are now in lab 6. Welcome back, everyone. Of course, here, just let me show you what might happen. During the installation of .NET Framework, it was upset that these two programs are running. Server Manager, I'll close it. And Active Directory Web Services, it will close it on my behalf. So right now, in Lab 6, what are the requirements? We just need to run the commands. As you can see here, we have 5 commands. We need to run them in order using PowerShell. So let me start by running actually PowerShell, and let me run it as administrator to avoid any unnecessary privileges error. Okay, and now all I need to do is copy the first command, right-click copy, and then just right-click here. It should paste it without any issue. Install Windows feature, RASAT, of course, remote server administration tool. That's it, success true. And then the next command, server media foundation, copy again, paste, enter, install server media foundation. Might take some time because we have this running. Again, it's upset that PowerShell is running. .NET doesn't want anything to run while it's working. Okay, let's wait for this to be complete. Start installation. Actually, I'm afraid that it will cause an infinite loop because this is waiting for this and this is waiting for this. It might be the case actually. This is waiting for this to finish and this is waiting for this to finish, so it might not actually progress at all. So let me cancel and close this. Let's let .NET do its thing and let us wait. I know there is a lot of waiting in Exchange Labs, and this is the nature of the programs that we are installing. Everything requires some sort of download and install. So let's hope this will progress at least. And then meanwhile, we can check, for example, our Windows update. We can see there is, it's progressing as well, 75% pending install on every other update. Meanwhile, I can mount also the ISO file, the cumulative update 12, by just double clicking on it. And you can see down here is the setup.exe. I will not run setup.exe yet. What we need to do is basically let .NET complete. And then we're going to navigate to the E drive. You can see the drive letter here. It's E, okay? So we need to type E, colon, enter in PowerShell. This will take us to the root directory here, and then we can execute the setup commands. And you can see it's referencing setup.exe. And of course, if the DVD is mounted on a different drive letter, you have to change this drive letter. So the commands should be E, then enter, then it will take you here. After, of course, this will take you to the root of E, which is essentially the root of the DVD drive. And then you can just copy and paste these commands directly. You don't need to change anything. Okay, just in case that the DVD was mounted on a different drive, for example, D. And by the way, this D drive is the installation for Windows Server. We don't need it anymore, actually. I can unmount it from here, but better to leave it alone for now. Let us not overload the server anymore and wait for the installation to progress. Okay. Meanwhile, let me talk a little bit about the setup of Exchange. The setup of Exchange is basically divided into three main parts: selecting the server role, and in our case, it is the mailbox role. The next is basically specifying whether you want to enable or disable the antivirus scanning, and we disable it by default to reduce the load on the server. And last but not least, the readiness check. Of course, after the readiness check is the actual install. Readiness check is we call it the moment of truth, where everything is verified and cross-checked. Did you install everything? Did you prepare the schema, Active Directory, domain services, and everything? will be double checked before Exchange can start the installation. Of course, as you all know, once we start the Exchange installation, it is normal that it might take 25 minutes, 30 minutes even to fully install. And usually during that lab, we just run the installation and lock the PC and leave it running until our next lab. Okay, so usually it doesn't take more than 1 hour. In rare occasions only, it might take more than that. Okay, so that is it for the Exchange installation part. Just let us wait for uh, .NET to complete. I'm not sure why it's taking this long. Might be that we are trying to do many things at the same time. Okay, Google Chrome not needed anymore, at least for the time being. Of course, later we have, let me actually bookmark them from now. We need to bookmark localhost slash ECP. And let me add HTTPS actually. Of course, this is going to be our Exchange control panel. And I can bookmark it this way, I believe. Yes, I'll call it ECP, done, and leave it here. And then I can bookmark UA also. UA is Exchange Web Application, which is basically the same URL, but OWA. Copy this, enter, and then add it to bookmarks. No. So we have two bookmark pages. Can check they are added, yes, and leave them here. Okay, finally it's done. We can now resume. Of course, it will ask us to restart. Before restarting, I just need to run this command. I'll go to PowerShell again. By the way, PowerShell, I just remembered, since we are admins, actually, no need to run it as administrator. We are the only account. Store Windows Media. Again, let's try to see if it will run this time properly or not. It is recommended whenever it asks for restart to actually restart the server as soon as possible before installing anything else. Okay, let us see in this case what will happen. Okay, install the true. So this is it for these two commands. We don't need them anymore. Let me restart the server actually as recommended. Restart now. And afterwards, let me check lab6. So the first command, the second command, and then mounting the ISO file, double checking the E, which is the drive letter, and what? Navigating to E and running the commands one by one. This lab is very critical because each command needs to run in order. Okay, it's better to run them in order instead of just randomly executing the commands. Okay, let us go back. Let's hope it does not take a long time for the restart. But again, this is the nature of these labs, that there is a lot of waiting involved, and this is outside of our control. We'll try to put timestamps on these parts so you can skip ahead, or I might even speed up these parts, I'm not sure, in post-editing. We'll see what we can do. Okay, the server has restarted. Hopefully everything is fine. .NET Framework again is a major requirement for Exchange, and as you all remember, starting from Exchange 2016, or I believe 2013, all of Exchange is actually based on .NET Framework. It is built on top of it. That's why it is a main requirement to install uh, .NET Framework before you actually will be able to run Exchange or anything related to it. Okay, now since it restarted, let me go back to commands, go back to our downloads folder, mount the ISO file, open, run our PowerShell, navigate to E, of course, where our DVD is living, the ISO file. I just need to type E colon, enter. Now we are in E, and all I need to do is copy and paste these commands. So the first command, copy, right click, enter. Prepare schema, might take some time. Of course, let us multitask again. Okay, by going to settings, checking for updates. Updates, again, it's a never-ending task, to be honest. Something we need to keep running, retrying until everything is completely updated. Okay, it's copying files now. Just wait. How to know that everything is performed correctly? You just need to pay attention to the logs. So file copy complete, setup will now collect additional information. Just wait. The next command will be this one, prepare AD. Again, pay attention to this flag, the diagnostic data on. You can turn it to off if you want to, but pay attention to the spelling here. Okay, sometimes it might cause errors, but just because the spelling of the command. Okay, and we can see that actually failed because there is a pending reboot. Reboot is required. Okay, so I'm not sure what is requiring the reboot. It is okay. Let us reboot quickly. Start, continue. No problem. This reboot should be faster. And this might happen. It's normal. If you are doing multiple setups at the same time, the reboot requirement might pop up from time to time. Okay, since we've rebooted now, actually I won't check for Windows Update. I'll just leave it for a minute. Let us just first finalize this lab because it's taking too long now. Okay, okay. Again, start PowerShell, go here, mount the ISO file, go to downloads, open the commands, copy this line, navigate, oh, sorry, supposed to open PowerShell, not the ISE. Navigate to E, drive, paste, enter, and let us see if this time it will execute properly or not. Again, because we are rushing things, actually, these kind of errors are showing. Usually, if we take it slower and step by step, that means we finish the updates, we make sure no Windows updates are remaining, then we move on to the next step. Usually, these kind of errors won't show. Okay, but unfortunately, we are trying to multitask, and with multitasking, these setup steps they get angry whenever we try to multitask and install multiple things at the same time. It is never a good idea actually to change multiple file systems or install multiple programs at the same time, because there might be some conflicts, unresolved conflicts during the installation, and this is the last thing you want to have actually. Okay, it's file copy complete. Let's see if it will actually install it now or not. It is performing the prerequisite analysis, and I think it is completed. It didn't fail this time. And now it is extending the Active Directory schema. You can see the progress here. Let's wait for it a little bit. Usually these commands don't take long, by the way. So within 5 minutes you can get them all running without any issue. Again, after the commands, we're actually going to start the Exchange installation, which is one of the, as mentioned before, it might take actually some time to finalize. You know, it might get boring, but you have to bear with it. Of course, our midterm, our final, sorry, is going to focus more on the administration part, not because all of this is already, we already performed it all in the midterm. There's no need to go through it again, because even the time window of the of the final will not allow us to perform all these steps. So during the final, we are going to focus exclusively again on the administration steps, which are basically labs, I believe, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11, or 8, 9, 10, and 11. These are the labs related to administration that we need to focus on. Okay, it's almost done. Let me copy the next command actually. Okay, completed. That's good. Now let me paste the next command. It will go through the same steps again, because it's checking and collecting information, copying files. It's all more of the same. Each command is doing the same routine, basically. Requisite analysis again. But of course, it's much quicker for this one. What do we get here? Prepare using setup and prepare organization, configuring. Okay, it's going smoothly. Even it's telling you will not be able to install any Exchange Server 2013 roles after you're done with this. Because it's essentially it's installing this role for you. Okay, okay, completed. Thank goodness. And last but not least, the last command. Again, more of the same. Enter. And this should be actually our last command before we can start our setup.exe, which I'm going to do, of course, in the next lab. But right now we are again in lab 6. So in lab 7, where we actually do the actual installation of Exchange itself. Okay, requisite check again. Complete. It is preparing domain. Let's wait for it. Usually it doesn't take long, especially this command, because our domain requirement, we don't have multiple domains. We have a single domain, so it should go very quickly. Okay, and that's it. We are done with lab 6. We can now safely close this, And I recommend actually, after doing all these installations, to again restart the server. Okay, see you in the next lab.